All right. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Gaming Perspective podcast on a pre-recorded format. So this is pretty exciting and new, and please hope for no technical issues as we kick this off. So we're going to start off with our intros as per always. Joining me as always is Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm excited to be here on our first all four of us pre-recorded podcast.
Right on. And Jared as well.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's fun to always have a chat with you guys on every weekend. So let's get going. Got lots to talk about. Good things to talk about.
For sure, dude. And Eric?
Hey, what's going on? Happy to be here. New format, different day. Things feel odd, but hey, we're going to roll with
it.
Yeah, it feels weird. Pre-recording feels weird. I feel more pressure with pre-recording than I do with a live show, so try to figure that one out. So we will dive into what we've been playing. So we'll start with Eric. So what have you been playing in our week and a half-ish off?
Sekiro. That's pretty much been where my time has been focused. And
my man.
And for good reason. It's definitely I'm still, trying to get that flow, trying to get, and I think it's starting to click. I think it's starting to make sense to me. I'm still fairly early because I've been kind of doing some grinding and I haven't really had as much time to play as I want to. And then the other day, actually yesterday, Nick, we were talking some Vita stuff and I was kind of looking through some of my Vita things and I was like, I never finished Severed and I wanted to get the platinum on that. How far along was I? And I'm like right at the end of the game. Just going back and trying to find some puzzle stuff and some, secrets and things like that. So I kind of got distracted with that.
Right on. Jared, what have you been playing, my friend?
Well, I've been playing this hot new release called Mortal Kombat 11. And usually I'm not a fighting genre type of fan, but, I just, it just looks so good. Lots of people were saying good things about it, and I used to play in the arcades all the time growing up, especially Mortal Kombat 2. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy it, and I've been having a blast ever since. It's a fantastic story. It looks beautiful on the Xbox One X. It plays very well. Everything interconnects very, very well as well. Like the gear is good. I've been overly impressed with how the fighting genre has evolved in the way that Mortal Kombat and how Injustice 2 have integrated gear and cosmetics and all that kind of stuff to really give you your personalized way of fighting with your character. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really love Mortal Kombat. I enjoyed the hell out of Mortal Kombat X. I'm not a huge fighter guy, but I really have a huge appreciation for that series because it's one of those games that appeals to both the casual and the hardcore in terms of pickup playability. I still get bodied if I actually play against real people, but beating the AIs makes me feel good.
Me too, man. I can't. Very easy is hard for me.
Right on, man. I'm glad your Mortal Kombat 11's good because everyone's been slandering the hell out of it for the weirdest reasons.
I don't see a reason because they're saying the microtransactions are kind of up in your face and everything. Okay, I can understand. So I checked out the store and there's a featured item list and one other thing and easy fatality tokens. That's all you can buy in the store, and the featured item list is only 5 items. You can't look at anything else, and it rotates on a 24-hour basis as far as I know. So it's like, it's not that bad. There's nothing to really complain about, honestly, from what I've seen.
People like getting upset about everything, like,
I thought, it's like
they find something.
Like we will scrutinize.
We don't do this for fun, Jared. We don't play games for fun.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
You better find something to complain about.
I'm gonna throw my out the window now.
Like
it's
I'm
trash.
sitting there, like discourse before Mortal Kombat 11. I'm looking at the character list. I'm like, my only criticism pre-release was they could have had some more characters.
Actually, I agree.
Like, I was saying, they're going, compared to, like, Mortal Kombat X, the character list is kind of disappointing. And then that was like my only criticism pre-release. And then I'm looking at the discourse and they're like, they're desexifying the four-armed monsters. I'm like, pardon? They're like, they're trying to make them less sexy. I'm like, when was Goro a sex symbol? Like, did I miss this call? Like,
I agree. I alrighty then. Okay.
She's repping for all the four-armed chicks in our community.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't care about her. But with all these other badass chicks in this roster, that's attractive to me. They can kick someone's ass like no tomorrow. Come here, baby.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. Well, when your website's literally called One Angry Gamer, I guess that's what you can expect out of something like that. Yeah. New podcast, same pot shots. Shout out to Tidus. So Sam, what have you been playing, my friend?
Jeez. I have actually, after taking a bit of a break, frankly, after the burnout from Sekiro and Bloodborne, and Eric knows all about that grind. We were on that together there for a time. I've actually been diving into Days Gone. Now, I know you've also been playing Days Gone, so would you like us to just go ahead and shift into our impressions of that so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you, well, not like you. My past week was basically just work. So basically, all I played is Days Gone. So yeah, let's dive into Days Gone, and I'll let you kick it off first because you have a little bit more time than I do in it.
So, okay, Days Gone. This is Sony Ben's first game since Uncharted Golden Abyss. That released in what, 2012 on the Vita? 2013 maybe?
Yes, I think 2013 is the last thing that.
Okay, so the point is, looking it up, it was actually 2011. My mistake.
Oh wow.
No. But anyway, so they haven't had a game in several years, and this was long in development. It was delayed multiple times. And I have very, very mixed thoughts. The gameplay wants to be good. The gameplay wants to feel great, riding on the open trails and the dynamic weather turning the trails to mud so it's more difficult to navigate your bike. I like that stuff. Having to manage your crafting resources and your ammo very carefully, earning credits as you kill the infected and stuff like that. I appreciate that. I like the open world design. It's very Ubisoft-like. It's extremely Ubisoft / Horizon Zero Dawn-like, and that's not a problem. The problem is, despite this game getting multiple patches, including one 18-gigabyte patch, by the way, so this thing is like almost 70 gigabytes at this point, this game still has massive performance issues. It chugs regularly. There's frame rate dips all the time, but especially on the bike and especially at night. At that point, frame rate issues are basically guaranteed. And I have run into a bunch of glitches. I mean, I've had things like the bike randomly disappearing, or I haven't had this one happen, but I've seen other people have the hordes just disappear, like they just fall off the map through everything. People floating through doors. I've had my left thumbstick randomly stop responding at times, and I test with other stuff, and no, it's not the controller. It's just the game itself doing that. I've had issues with the audio randomly disappearing, and I have to restart my PS4 to get the audio back. The lack of polish here is ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's completely unlike anything else Sony has put out in several past years. Maybe even this entire generation, guys, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm astounded that this passed their certification. And again, that's with this massive patch, these multiple patches that fix issues. And then there's the mixed story presentation, which I know Nick really has some things to say, so I'll let him dive in on that. But to just be clear that I'm not just hating on the game. I love the combat. I love the exploration. When this game works, it works, and it's really, really fun to, carefully make your way through a medical checkpoint only to discover it's been overrun by a horde and you have to disable the alarms or you'll bring them down on top of you and manipulating them to take out your enemies for you if you don't have enough ammunition. That kind of stuff is cool. I love that. Upgrading your bike with different parts and different bits to make it have better traction or better gas mileage so you don't have to stop and explore towns for gas as frequently. That's really cool. I like resource management stuff like that. And it's actually bizarrely similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 in that way, I would say. In terms of Deacon's relationship with his bike is much like your relationship with your horse in Red Dead. That's actually the closest thing I can think of. So I've got a lot of mixed thoughts. If Eric or Jared, if either of you have a particular question you'd like to ask me, by all means, please do. Because I'm still gathering my thoughts on the game, if I'm being honest.
Is it even worth picking up right now? Because I'm still very interested in playing it. It's just, yeah, I'm unsure right now.
How much do you love zombie games?
Love zombie games. Love
you will
them.
probably still find it worthwhile to pick up then. That's currently my make or break question.
Yeah. I honestly I can't get enough of even a half decent zombie game, just like World War Z. Like I bought that game not too long ago, and that was really, really fun. It is still really, really fun, and I'm a little surprised by it because it's not the greatest quality game, but hey, it's a hell lot of fun.
Eric, what about you? Anything in particular standing out to you you'd like to ask? Or
yeah, I think we talked about this in private, and I told you, I'm still going through with getting my collector's edition for a couple of reasons. Like, one, I just think it looks really cool. I do want the steelbook. I like the statue, and I don't know how many they made, so I don't know if it'll be scarce, and I don't want to run into that, right?
Sure.
As far as I won't say I was ever like overly hype for Days Gone.
Sure, just excited.
I was excited. Yeah. Right. So I still want to play it. I'm not one of these people that I look at things and people are showing clips of things broken and this and that. I will forever utilize and tell people that I'm a huge fan of Devil's Third on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
A game that scored, I think it got like a 2.5 from IGN.
Damn.
But 5s and 6s from others. It's a broken game. It's a flawed game, but it's a very fun, just ridiculous game. I always liken it to a game you would see somebody playing in some B movie playing a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that looks so ridiculous. That's that game, right? So I have no problem with some of the things that are going on. My question to you would be, is there enough there for Sony to want to invest in that in the future as a franchise?
There is a great game here.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's buried 6 feet under odd cinematic choices and myriad bugs. Make of that what I think, and I hate to be this grim and realist about it, it's probably going to come down to what did this game's internal cost look like. Like, I know Bend isn't their biggest studio, but this thing was in development for a long time. So how much is it going to sell? How much do they view public perception? There's going to be a bunch of factors going into this. If I'm personally making the call, I would say yes, there is potential, but you got to keep in mind I haven't finished the game, so I'm really hoping they're teasing some things with the story. They're teasing a couple of interesting things they need to capitalize on. This better not be a situation where at the very last second, but actually, dun dun dun, cliffhanger, like, no, I need you to do something interesting in this game's story. Earn your sequel. You know what I mean? Right now, if I'm Sony, I would go out on a limb and say yes, but you've got to up the polish. You have got to hold their feet to the fire on quality, because it's just I'm forgiving. I'm very forgiving. I loved State of Decay 2, but there are some things here where it's like, after 20 gigabytes of patches, this is unacceptable.
No, I think this would be a good idea where if they were to ever move forward with the franchise in general, they might want to look at potentially having a second studio come in to help, sort of thing, kind of like how, let's say, Just Cause 4 had two big studios kind of working on it. Might as well have, if you're going to go ahead with Days Gone, make sure you get double the studio power and capabilities, so you make sure you get that polish out.
So you mean something similar to what ID Software is doing with Rage 2 in terms of Avalanche is making it, but ID Software is overseeing it?
Yeah.
That would be a very good idea. I'm not sure who you would have do it, but yes, that would be a very good idea.
I was kind of wondering if they would end up having like some of their more senior studios kind of get involved, because I wonder if this is a case too of Sony Bend coming from working more in the portable space, not
That's
having
definitely
a
possible.
console game in forever, kind of biting off more than they can chew. Because jumping into, I mean, look at what Guerrilla did,
change.
you look at what Guerrilla did, going from Killzone, to
Horizon Zero Dawn.
to Horizon Zero Dawn. I think the difference being is they were in the console space.
Yes, absolutely.
They're a pretty seasoned developer. They kind of know, some of the things that will work and what won't work, and kind of going from there.
Mhm.
It definitely sounds to me like Bend. They have a lot of potential as a developer. They just need people who know how to coordinate and facilitate and get the most out of them.
Yes.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder if that's going to end up being something going forward. It seems like they're a studio that has value. There's something there, but it's just, they need some senior.
They need some talent telling them, no, we don't have time to shove in more cinematics or more features at this point. We need to polish what we've got.
Right.
At a certain point, because I'm sorry, what they said about the game being totally done and polished and it was just delayed to this year because they wanted the right market for it, that's BS.
Right.
I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, because then I think conversely you have Ready at Dawn, who knew how to make a very beautiful game.
Mm-hmm.
But and I love The Order, but needed somebody to kind of help them with story beats, gameplay, and how to flesh out a world.
Yeah,
a little bit more. So, yeah, interesting. But that's the thing that makes me kind of, I won't say nervous. I'll never say nervous around this kind of stuff. Intrigued as to whether Days Gone will see more or we'll see something else from Bend in that regard, because people have been asking for like an Order sequel. And Sony hasn't said anything, and doesn't seem like they're going to say anything about it.
From what I've heard from certain people, I would stop hoping at this point about The Order. I think that ship has sailed, unfortunately, because much like you, I wanted to see that get a sequel.
Right.
Nick, you've been quiet. You got to talk about it, man. I know you haven't played as much as me, but I know I played about 8 hours. You played about 4 hours, but you got to talk about Days Gone too.
Okay, so there's certain things about this game that are really intuitive. I really liked. One of the few things that really it made me think more than anything was when they showed a cinematic off and there was a freaker eating another freaker. Like there was two freakers like tearing apart another freaker. And I sat there and went, why aren't zombies cannibalistic? Why hasn't anyone ever covered that before? And I was like, okay. And, like, the newts are a cool addition, because, like, you always sit there, it's kind of like Skyrim, or not Skyrim, it's like Fallout. It's like, where are the children? Why are there no children?
Oh,
and, like, Days Gone gives you children, and you have to kill them. And I felt very terrible about it the first couple of times, but then it just became natural, and I got over it.
Like those little craps with a baseball bat.
Yeah. The combat is sluggish. I'm gonna say it's a little too slow to call it weighted. Like I call Red Dead Redemption 2's controls weighted. It makes the game feel like it has weight and realism. But with Days Gone, it feels almost a little too heavy, where the realism's gone and it's just clunky. The inventory system is horrendous. Like, I don't know who thought having to hold a button and then do other button commands within that menu to like craft, use, and switch weapons. Not great. And also, I'm not sure if this bugs Sam as much as me, but them trying to force me to use the touchpad to swipe to go to different menus. Toss off.
I didn't mind it. I don't think it's a big deal. But
I just hate the touchpad. Like, it's 2019. The touchpad was cool in 2014. This game, like, there's barely any games that use it, and now they're trying to use it. I don't like the touchpad. But a few of my positive takeaways from it is the guns feel really good, even though the guns aren't necessarily good at the beginning. They feel good. The gunplay is nice. The melee combat's a little rough. I wish the melee combat had a little bit more depth in terms of being able to like better aim or like be able to do more damage. I know skills will unlock, they'll make it better like any other open world game, but you feel really useless early on. The cuts between gameplay to cinematics are rough. Like, the cinematics look so good, and then you switch to gameplay, and you're kind of like, whoa, okay. The dialogue is... I'm only 4 hours in. They have a lot of character development they can go on, but our boy Deacon, he's one angry boy. I can't go into this because basically I don't want to spoil the game if you're on the fence with the game, but there's an intro cinematic that's about 3 minutes that doesn't make sense at the start of the game. It literally
it doesn't.
It literally felt like they were trying to have like an emotional moment similar to the beginning of The Last of Us, but they didn't know how to flesh out dialogue for it. Like, in this moment, your character honestly just sits there with his wife awkwardly staring at each other for 15 seconds. There's no dialogue, nothing. They're just staring at each other. And you're like, okay, so this is the love of your life, and you're splitting, going your separate ways from her, but you don't have anything to say. Okay. Like, they're really trying to go the strong silent type with Deacon, and he's really boring early on. And like I said, maybe it gets better, but he's got the depth range of a spoon. Like, I went into Days Gone, I had two assumptions. It was either going to be an amazing story with really janky gameplay, or it was going to be amazing gameplay with really, like, a throwaway story. But instead, with Days Gone, we got really average gameplay with a really average story. Now, like, in terms of Eric's question of can they build this into a franchise? They could, because when I look at this game, I look at it as the first Uncharted. The first Uncharted to me is not a great video game. It's okay. It's a pretty standard third-person action game, but the Uncharted 2 is like a masterpiece because they learned a lot from that first game. I think Days Gone is a learning point for Sony Bend, and I think they could do something really special if given the opportunity for a second one. But the question is will this game sell enough to deserve a sequel? And I hope it does. I like Sony Bend, but as Sam said, internal numbers and whatnot, what this game has to sell. We know the UK numbers are good. It outsold Mortal Kombat 11, but that's just UK. Doesn't speak for the North American market or anything in terms of that. And also with a game like this, where it's not something you can be fit, like you can't like make Days Gone great by adding more modes, or it's not a game as a service game. This is a single player game. So after the initial rush, how's it going to sell? And I don't think after the initial rush of people, I don't think this game's going to sell phenomenally well because it's average. Like, it's an okay game, and I think why people are being so harsh with it in terms of reviewing it is pre all these patches, the game must have been barely playable. And two, in comparison to anything else that's come out of Sony's first party, this is jarringly painful in terms of quality. Because, like, even if you go to look at something like Knack or The Order 1886, which are considered quote-unquote bad PS4 games, they ran well. Quality-wise, they were good. This game, I've fallen through the map 3 times. My bike's randomly shot into the air. I went to hit a freaker with a baseball bat. I hit it once. It went flying off screen and then basically boomeranged back and killed me.
That's amazing. Like, I wouldn't even be mad. That's hilarious.
I wouldn't either. I'm impressed.
Like, I don't mind game-breaking glitches like that, where it's like it ends up in like hilarity ensuing. Like, I take points off of it in a review in terms of like quality, but I find those kind of things like they're funny. But it's the same thing. It's the same problem I had with Anthem. It's like if you're having issues completing quest lines because of bugs, that deters my desire to keep playing the game. Like when I bought Days Gone, I was like, I'll get the platinum, no problem. Platinum list doesn't look that bad. Everything else. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't think I want to. Because the game is just okay. It's not Spider-Man. It's not even Spider-Man, which I classify as like a quote-unquote good game, but not a great game. Did a lot of open world things better than Days Gone. Days Gone suffers from the same things Crackdown 3 did in terms of quest design. It feels very 2014 open world game versus what we're used to now. After games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and everything else, the formulas change so much and what makes a great open world game. And I think Sony Bend really shot themselves in the foot when they took out player choice, because everyone person Deacon was by making specific choices. They pulled the option to make those choices out of the games, but those cutscenes still exist within those games where you feel like I should be able to make a choice here, but the game makes it for you. And it sometimes you're like, I would have handled that differently. And it really ruins the immersion of the storytelling, because now you're not playing Deacon the way you want to play Deacon. You're just playing Deacon, and how he portrays himself is how you have to deal with it. And like they said, they pulled the decision making out to write a tighter narrative. I respect that to an extent, but when you still leave in those cutscenes that make you feel like you had a choice, but you didn't get to make that choice, it just kind of leaves you going, well, okay. That's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. Like, it's not a terrible game.
No, not at all. And I will say, I do respect them. To be clear here, whatever happens, I give them some, points for chutzpah for not making a console game and how long, and then deciding, you know what, we're going to make a massive open world game with more enemies on screen than most other games. Like, I give you credit for trying there, because the concept of the hordes, I can't emphasize this enough, really is cool. The fact that there's like 40 of them in the world, they all wander around, that's neat. I just want the rest of it to fall into place as well. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts to share as I actually finish the game, though, and play the rest of it.
Yeah, so and for sure. And that'll be the same thing with me as I work through it this week to get my review out. I'm going to be playing this all week. I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. And yeah, I really hope the best for Sony Bend in terms of where they end up with this and how this ends up wrapping up. But we're going to jump right into the news now that we've kind of got Days Gone impressions out of the way. We'll be doing a Days Gone specific episode. It'll either be part of the Gaming Perspective show, or it might be part of the PlayStation Perspective spin-off series. We will let you know more as we get further along here. So we're going to hop right into the news cycle. So speaking of zombies, World War Z has sold 1 million copies. World War Z is a co-op shooter with a unique hook of swarm of zombies that can pile up on top of each other to reach human survivors. According to VentureBeat, World War Z has sold 1 million copies in its first week. The game was developed by Saber Interactive and published by Focus Home Interactive. Focus Home Interactive also stated the game has hit 70,000 concurrent players during its launch week. Earlier this month, we learned Saber Interactive, Focus Home Interactive will be partnering in the future for multiple more games. World War Z is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC on the Epic Games Store. You can check out the launch trailer and whatnot. So that's pretty exciting. This game was really off my radar. I think I wrote about the release date trailer for the site, and I was kind of like, this game looks really good, but it looks like one of those zombie games that's going to be filled with performance issues, and it'll be good after a couple of patches. And after my experiences with Earthfall, I'm really, really hesitant on buying anything that they're like, it's like Left 4 Dead. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure it is. Liars.
Surprise. It actually is. It's pretty impressed, honestly.
So you've actually played it, Jared?
Oh, yeah. I played a good amount of it already.
How are you liking it?
Dude, it's fun. It really is, and there was very little performance issues. The only one thing I'm kind of disappointed is I wish there was more content. I wish there was more levels, or I wish there was like a horde mode where you can sit and at a certain point and just build up your defenses and rack in points from killing zombies and spending your points on building and fortifications and stuff like that. and just defending wave after wave after wave after wave. Other than that, it's a really, really solid co-op multiplayer zombie game that I think should basically almost be a staple in everybody's library, because it's just one of the things where it's so diverse. And the best part about it too is it has multiplayer as well. So you actually have a PvP option to do if you don't want to do the story co-op campaign all the time. You want to go take on some other players, and I think it's like 8 different modes in multiplayer. Go for it. And the multiplayer is pretty solid as well. On top of that, you have, I think it's 8 different classes as well that you can level up, customize, get your skill trees up for those classes, sort of thing. It's pretty impressive and a little more deep to the game than I think most people expect from that quality of a game.
Cool. Yeah, I've been on the fence about way too many games coming out right now. It's something I'll probably pick up on an Xbox sale. Down the line, I just picked up Far Cry New Dawn because it was $20. So I was like, I like Far Cry, so I'll buy that.
Thankfully, actually, it's not a full price game too. Just a quick tidbit there too.
Oh yeah, it's $49.99 in Canada, so that's probably what, $15 in the States.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So, Sam, Eric, any thoughts on World War Z? Any interest in it?
I'll go ahead, Eric. No.
Nope, I insist.
Oh my God, we do this all the time. Okay, real quick. I mean, I'm impressed. I'll say this: I'm really surprised because I saw no marketing for this game at all.
It was very little.
I got a couple of press releases direct to my email, and that's it. So this thing must have incredible word of mouth.
It's interesting because when I was in at EB Games I was downgrading my Days Gone Collector's Edition. In the time I was in there was like 4 people came in. They're like, "Do you have World War Z?" And the guy's like, "No, we're sold out." And we're sold out across like 300 kilometers of EB Games. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I didn't even know the game launched that day. Like, I was just in the EB Games randomly after work. And I'm like, that came out today? And they're like, yeah, we're sold out of it. We sold 30 copies, non-pre-ordered. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I know World War Z was a decent movie, but like, people buying video games off of that? Like, okay. It's great because it's Focus Home Interactive, and it's great to see them get a hit. Be interested to see how far the game can climb. It's pretty high on MPDs, was it not? Or is that no? MPDs have for this month haven't happened yet.
Well, they haven't happened yet, but they hit the UK sales chart as number 2 with Days Gone at number 1.
Wow. That's
because
impressive.
Copies sold too. Yeah, it's very impressive.
So that's cool. More zombie games.
Fun fact, a fun little thing here. Saber Interactive went to Sony Bend and to Sony Direct and pitched before they made World War Z that they could help them make a multiplayer mode for Days Gone. So, fun fact, that's the story behind why these 2 games are coming out right next to each other.
Really?
Yeah, and
you know what?
And Sony said no, and they said, okay, all right, no issues. They went to I don't know who holds the IP on World War Z. The point is they went to those people and said, hey, are you interested in like World War Z but Left 4 Dead game? And the people there were like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So, fun little background.
Dude, that's like, okay, honestly, if Sony, you're dumb. If you just said yes, all right, let's do it, work with us, they could have probably helped with some of the assets from World War Z to Days Gone in regards, because zombies are somewhat the same. Freakers and the hordes, the massive amount of zombies, the way they move and attack sort of thing, roughly the same. So it just helps. There's so much opportunity to me, if they said yes, Days Gone could have probably been a lot more polished off with probably kick-ass multiplayer mode too. But no. Damn it, you guys.
Do you imagine, Sam, like our experience with Days Gone so far, you imagine if they had thrown in a full-on co-op mode?
I'll say this. I would have liked it, personally.
Riding motorcycles with your best friend.
Would that not have enhanced the biker culture aspect of this game?
Yeah, yes. No, that's. I need to clarify this too. We're not dunking on Days Gone because
we really do like it.
I love the hell out of it the same way that I love State of Decay 2 in the terms of I love it so much, but I just want it to be better.
But we're going to be honest with you. We're going to tell you what we don't like because we care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's the way this works.
Yeah.
Funny how that works, Sam.
Yeah, it's almost as if I don't care about a game, I'm not going to talk about it. It's a fascinating concept, really.
Yeah.
It's a weird concept. So we've all been hearing about horrendous studio crunch the past week. We've had pieces come out about the studio culture at NetherRealm, stories about people passing out at their desks at Epic Games, working 100-hour weeks, blah, 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 blah. So standard fare for the video game industry, as it seems. I'm waiting for someone to create a video game studio called Captain Crunch at this point.
Oh my god.
But
wow.
the thing is Crunch sucks and everything else, and we need to get a handle on it. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think unionization is going to help, but that's a whole different discussion. But don't worry. During this whole thing about Epic basically killing employees at their desks, Tim Sweeney took to Twitter and decided to go on a tangent because this man does not seem to understand when to shut up. People were talking in regards to why is Epic spending so much money on exclusivity, and is it really helping anyone in terms of buying up these exclusives? And Tim Sweeney came to Twitter to say, if Steam committed to a permanent 88% revenue share for all developers and publishers without major strings attached, Epic would hastily organize a retreat from exclusives while honoring our partner commitments and consider putting our own games on Steam. So there's a few things to unpack for this. Epic's games are on Steam. You can buy Unreal Tournament, Bulletstorm, everything else, and they're not available on the Epic Games Store. You can't buy Bulletstorm or Unreal Tournament on the Epic Games Store. So the only place you can buy Epic's games is Steam. And also, him trying to say that they would basically delete, stop using buying up exclusives if Valve changes their revenue share policy for publishers and developers. Is he really in a position to be this strong-armed? Is he really thinking that he's the savior, so to speak, of PC gaming? When he's throwing out things like this, they're literally buying everything up at this point. And Tim Sweeney has contradicted every point he's ever made from basically 2012 onward with everything he's done in the past year. So do you guys really think Epic's about making things better for developers? They say they're fighting this battle for developers while they're killing their own developers. What's the thoughts here?
Give me a minute. Jared, Eric, either you want to go first here?
Oh,
I don't believe anything Tim Sweeney says.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. That was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yep. And to be clear here, I still believe that 95% of the people who complain about Epic Store exclusivity don't have legit issues. A handful have brought up legitimate complaints that I understand. Most have not. But Tim Sweeney is a massive hypocrite. That is massive. That is established at this point. He says what he wants because he wants it. When Microsoft was potentially, theoretically, possibly going to be doing something even remotely similar to what he did, he threw a hissy fit and told people not to support Windows 10. Now that Fortnite's a success and he has the moolah, it's perfectly okay for him to do this stuff and to initiate burnout culture and people literally passing out and getting blood clots at their desk because they're terrified of the fact that Fortnite players might have to wait 48 hours because the skin isn't working. That's not right. Sorry.
Yeah, and see this is my problem, is because Tim Sweeney's out here saying that he is out here fighting for developers and sharing about fighting for their percentages and everything else, but Epic Games Store doesn't offer regional pricing to their customers, which means some people can't buy these games at a reasonable price. And you're also got the Epic Games Store doesn't cover specific costs that Valve will cover. So the revenue split is actually not as good, because with that 30% that Steam takes, they cover some back end things in terms of giving you forums, giving you outlets, communicate with your fans, all these other features that would cost you money that you would have to have set up anyways. So it's not that big of a split. And honest and truly, if anyone really cared about the developers, they would go to Discord, because Discord's store is a 90 to 10% split for developers. But no one's jumping to use the Discord store because there's no reason to. So Tim Sweeney's buying up exclusivity so that there's a reason for people to go to his store. He's not doing this to save people. He's not doing this to be a good guy. He's doing this because it makes him a metric ton of money. It doesn't matter, any of this. If Epic was... Like, this comes on the tail of Respawn saying that we're not getting more Titanfall stuff because they refuse to make their studio crunch to get Apex updates out the door. If Tim Sweeney was sitting there going, yeah, people at Epic only work 40-hour weeks and updates will get postponed to keep studio culture healthy, and was doing this, then sure, I'd believe him a little bit. But to come out and be like, oh, well, Valve needs to adhere to our standards while we don't adhere to their standards, and it annoys the hell out of me. Like, you're the CEO of this company that is literally getting roasted on social media for a crunch culture studio, and you're sitting there babbling about how all you care about is developers. It's painful to watch. And... like, this whole Epic Games Store thing's an absolute mess. Honest and truly. That's all that can be said about it. But just throw the whole Tim Sweeney out. I have no time for this man.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And, like, the most toxic combination I've ever seen in my life is when him and Randy Pitchford get in a Twitter thread together. Makes me want to slam my head off the wall when they're sitting there going... The Epic Games Store is amazing. I'm like, of course it is, because you guys are pocketing insane amounts of money from it. But regardless, so Epic Games continues to be inherently slimy, and this is my fourth time bringing it up. Fortnite is still an early access game. Still in early access.
Just throw that out there.
Also, by the way, it's spring 2019. It's closing off. The single-player part of Fortnite, that should be free in spring of 2019. They had to delay it last year because it just wasn't possible. And we wanted to give players the best experience. So, so Epic Games, get bent. That's all I'll take away from that. Speaking of people that got bent on social media... Persona 5S was finally revealed. And unlike previous insiders had stated that it would be a Persona Switch version, it turns out Persona 5S is actually a Dynasty Warriors style spin-off, which I don't think anyone saw coming. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Anyone interested in the Persona 5 Dynasty Warriors spin-off?
Man, they threw people a curveball on that one.
All I heard was like the Kirby Enthusiasm music when I saw
Man, after how many months have we put up with rumors about this? How long have we put up with Persona 5's coming to the Switch? Persona 5's coming to the Switch. I just know it. And they're like, yeah, as a Musou game.
Damn it!
That was, that was one of the funny things.
My favorite thing was I was at work filling out paperwork, and I couldn't watch the reveal live, so I was just like refreshing my Twitter feed, and like everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be Persona 5 for the Switch," and then like 2 minutes later, they're like, "It's a Dynasty Warriors game." I'm like, "Wait, what? What happened?" Also, along with this, Persona 5 Royals was also teased with another announcement coming next month because Atlus has to have announcements for their announcements.
Oh my god. How many are they going to do? When is this song and dance routine going to end?
Well, I think Atlus is just reveling because everyone's got to realize Persona 5 blew this franchise wide open to a wider audience. And I think at this point, Atlus is just enjoying having a large fan base to kind of like lead along and be like, "Hey guys, you like this? Well, we're gonna keep you waiting."
Yeah, it's the string along game.
Like, I was laughing with Eric that whole day because it was just me and him sending tweets back and forth and people being like, "This is outrageous. Why would they lie to us?" And
but they didn't.
Well, if anyone actually goes back, if you go back and Google Persona 5 Switch, you can find a quote from Atlus's CEO in 2017. Late 2017, early 2018, where he's flat out said that Persona 5 would never come to the Switch. They had no interest in porting it at all.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to B Money about this, and I completely forgot about the fact that, I mean, Atlus has a good relationship with Nintendo, but it's just they do Shin Megami Tensei, which kind of birthed some of the Persona stuff, right? As far as if I got that right. Don't kill me, guys, if I got it wrong. I know how that whole culture goes. So they have like their own versions of Personas, Shin Megami. So they're kind of, maybe they think their thing is to keep it separate. It would seem and it would make sense that Persona 5 would come to the Switch, but the fact of the matter is, if you really want Persona 5 that bad, and if you can do it, go get a PlayStation.
Well, the thing is like, I understand people being like, "Well, I want to be able to play Persona 5 on the go." I get that.
I get that. I get it.
I get that too. So go buy a PlayStation Vita, you ass.
Yeah, that too.
You can play it via remote play, and it works great.
There you go.
PlayStation has a solution for that. Yeah, like, I don't understand all these people that own PlayStation 4s. They're not going to buy Persona 5 for $20 and are waiting for a $60 Switch port for the game. Like, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to play this game. I've been waiting so long." I'm like, why are you waiting? You own the platform. Just play it. Like, this is like, people are doing the same thing. Like, I'm doing that with Octopath Traveler. Like, I'm super excited to get it when it comes out in June on PC. But I don't own a Switch. If I own a Switch, I'd already own it. And I'd be playing it. Because if you want to play a big game bad enough and you own the platform, why wouldn't you play it? Right. Oh, well, it's 100 hours games. It's easier to play RPGs on the go. I don't disagree with you. But if you want to play it that bad, you'll play it on the platform it's on.
Right, like I can legit understand, like if you chose the Switch and that's about as far as you can go, you just don't have the funds. I totally understand that, wanting it, right? But if there are people who we know who have like PlayStations, Xbox, Switch, and everything, and they're still pissed. It's like, why are you pissed?
You can play everything.
You can play it. Right? You know,
you are balanced.
But I'm outraged, guys. I am outraged.
I don't know.
I want to play Persona on the toilet.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong because, good God, Atlus is making this song and dance routine go on as long as possible. They are dragging this thing for all it's worth. But I feel like if people want to play Persona 5 at this point, they can just go and buy Persona 5. It's that simple.
Well, like,
I don't know. That's me.
Yeah, well, like on PS4, it's $20 standard price now. It's flat rate $20 for Persona 5. It was on a PlayStation sale for like $9.99 the other day, and people are like, "No, I'm gonna wait for the $60 Switch port." I'm like, "You're dumb."
And you're out there on your own.
There's just some part of me that's like, why would I wait to pay $50 more for the same game? Like, being on the go isn't that important. To me, anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true.
And like most of the people I see, they're like, "Oh, well, I just don't have the time to sit down and play the game." I'm like, okay, so you don't have time to sit down and play the game, but you're going to still sit down with it on your Switch. You're just going to be laying in bed versus being on your couch.
Yeah.
What's the
basically.
difference? Like, the only reason like I play Persona 5 on Vita is because I can get a little bit in before bed on the Vita because it's on the go.
I mean,
Well-
I do understand there is a certain relaxation. I can play Zelda on my Switch much more easily than I could if I have to sit in front of the TV. I do understand the ease of access argument. It's nice. It really is.
It is
But-
nice, but if you want to play a game bad enough, you'll play
You will
it.
play it. Yes. Yeah, I hear you. I hear.
So it is what it is. Instead of spending 2 years waiting for a game to come to the console, if you already own the other console, just buy it on there. It's just stupid. That's like the people that when Rise of the Tomb Raider was an Xbox exclusive, they owned Xbox and PlayStation 4s. They're like, I'm outraged. I have to wait a year to play this. I'm like, but you don't. You can just buy it on Xbox that you also own.
Yeah.
No, I want it for trophies or I want it for the DualShock 4. I'm like, okay, but literally you have the console that plays it, so you can't be mad about it. Like, like if someone owns a PlayStation only and they can't afford to buy an Xbox and you're a huge Tomb Raider fan, then I feel bad for you. But the problem is the people you should actually feel bad about in these situations are like the various tiniest of minorities. And then, like, the people that are, like, thumping their chest and being super obnoxious about it, I don't feel bad for them at all. Like there was a one guy I was arguing with in Discord about Persona coming to Switch, and he's like, well, I'm a college student. I don't have a lot of free time. I'm like, so wait, you're a college student, but your priority is your free time of sitting in your dorm in your bed playing versus laying in your dorm playing it on your PS4, but you don't want to buy it for $20, but you want to pay for $60 on Switch. If I remember correctly, being a student, I was broke as hell and I was eating ramen noodles and couldn't buy full price games. So the $20 option would seem like the go-to. But
Okay.
I digress. People like to whine. I'm one of those people too. It's fine. I just made a career out of whining about other people whining. That's all. So our discussion topic for this episode is the ever wonderful topic review score irony.
Oh no.
So
Flip flop.
this is something I love. And I love this because, as a lot of people know, I consider myself a connoisseur of bad games. If it's got a bad score on Metacritic, drop my microphone. If it's a bad game, I probably love it. And like people's definition of what a bad game is, I swear from seeing people on social media, I don't think they've ever played a bad game. Like when people are like, oh, Crackdown 3 is a terrible game or Days Gone's a terrible game. I'm like, you ever play Walking Dead Survival Instincts on Xbox 360?
Ooh,
Did y'all ever play that?
no.
That's a terrible
No.
game. You play. They actually got the guy, like they got Norman Reedus, and they got the guy who played like Daryl's brother to actually voice act.
Oh, I remember that joint. I do remember it. I didn't
Yes,
play it,
I saw
remember it.
gameplay of it, and good God, oh, yeah.
Ew.
The point was to kill zombies, but if the game punished you if you used weapons to kill zombies. Yeah, the
Right
game
into
was
Game of the Year.
like the game was terrible. Like they're basically somewhat my thoughts on it. I saw a tweet I thought was perfectly accurate. It's like Metacritic ratings. It was like 10, masterpiece, 9, great, 8, average, 7, trash. Everything else below that was trash. And like I find it so frustrating that people take this so seriously because like I was talking with my wife about this and she's like, well, have you ever looked up movie review scores? I'm like, no. So I started looking up like movie review scores for like films
Yeah.
and I went, oh my God, nobody liked these movies but me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, and then I started thinking about it. It's like, how much do I go to find a review on a movie before I watch it? Like, and I sit there and go, I don't do it at all because it's not that emotionally invested of a purchase to like go see a movie for $15 or however much it costs now. But with like video games, it's a whole different ball game of how this stuff works. And the discourse the past few days has been interesting. So I kind of want to get your guys's wow. I wanted to get your thoughts on, not necessarily do review scores matter. We've had that conversation before. We know review scores matter, but the interest and irony of watching people switch their stance, so to speak, and switch hit on whether reviews are important. And what do you guys consider a quote-unquote okay or good game in terms of when you see a review or read a review or anything like that? We'll start with Jared, for example.
In terms of relative score?
Yeah, like how much do you value, like before you pick up a game, like how much does score influence? Like, are you like gonna cancel a pre-order if a game's a 7 average, or like what is your breaking point where you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna pick up this game because of this?
All right. Well, I guess what would make me not buy a game would be if everybody on social media who has played the game, even diehard fans, are going, you know what, this really isn't that great of a game. There's a lot of issues going on, and you know, the usual spiel. And if they even advise to hold off and wait, okay, I might look into it, see a couple video reviews, actually see what's going on. And at that point in time, I'll determine whether I should wait, cancel my pre-order or not. If it's a game I'm honestly truly excited for, no matter what, I'm going to end up playing the game, no matter what other people say or what the score is for the game itself. I'm going to let myself determine my own opinion on the game, because usually I end up enjoying the hell out of the game. Like one game that's really underrated, I think, and people didn't like in general, was Lost Planet. I love the hell out of that game, but I don't think very many people actually liked it. So it really all depends, in my mind, whether you end up enjoying the amount of hours, the amount of time you put into that game, and whether you felt you've had the value returned to you in the form of that entertainment. So yeah, there's a lot of things for me to take into consideration, but I think it's something that also everybody else kind of does as well, or at least I would hope so.
Yeah, for sure. And like this is the thing, is like there's different breaking points for a lot of people in terms of when they'll buy a game, or what makes a game use the term a day one, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna hopscotch over to Eric, and I kind of want your thoughts, because I know you and me have been talking about this through the week of just how interesting it's been to watch how this has unfolded.
As far as like review scores, I think it's kind of like a fine line. Like people can say, people can say that it doesn't matter, and most people I kind of don't believe, because you see how much like they do care, how much they invest in what reviewers say, and reviewers' opinions do like matter to an extent. I think people kind of look at their like reviews as you're going to hurt the game's sales, by doing that, and it's like. Mm-hmm. No, the responsibility of a reviewer is to inform people of, what they may be getting into. Some succeed at doing that, some fail at doing that, right? What I tend to look at is the kind of like the aggregate score across. And I'm not talking like Metacritic. Like I'll look at, certain like sites, and I'll look at certain YouTubers, and those who do score, if it's kind of like right in that middle point where everyone's kind of saying the same thing, it could be off a number, it could be whatever, then I kind of get an idea that they're all kind of on the same accord, minus the person who overhypes something because they have an agenda, or tries to dunk on something because they have an agenda. You just have to completely ignore those, right? Mm. So it does bear some kind of effect, because if there's a game I'm anticipating that comes out and across the board people are like, man, this is bad, and it's like a 3, that's going to affect me in a way. Not that I won't play it, but it may not make me go day one. If across the board people are saying, oh man, absolutely, this is an excellent game, whether they want to call it masterpiece, great, phenomenal, whatever the case may be, and they're kind of flowing in around 9s and in some cases 10s. But if it's like 7, 8, 9 or whatever across the board, then I'm kind of like, I'm good. I think it's sort of falling into the accord. And I kind of go with people who kind of have the same taste as I do. You know, when they've reviewed something and then I go play it and I go, oh, okay, I kind of understand where they were coming from. I'm kind of falling in line with that. I've always leaned on people like that, even back to the days of EGM.
Oh yeah,
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, oh, you know, Shu said this about this game. I kind of had like the same taste in games as he, you know, and I kind of go from there. So it does matter. Those opinions do matter because I don't know if it necessarily affects me from not playing. Like I'm still going to play Days Gone. Even with, you know, the impressions or whatever, for a lot of reasons, because it is a game I'm interested in playing, but also I think it's hilarious. I want to see what I can experience.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like, okay, what glitches you got in store for me?
Yeah, because that can kind of become a thing in itself too if you don't take it like too serious. If you're not invested from a term of, or from a standpoint of, I have to see my favorite platform succeed so I can dunk on everybody. If you just go into it as a consumer who's just there to play games, then it doesn't really affect me at all what someone has to say. Somebody I saw on both sides. I saw Crackdown be called mediocre. I saw Days Gone be called mediocre. And people got stuck on the term mediocre. It's like they got so focused on having to prove that wrong, you know, like they forgot the fact, are you even still interested in the game?
Yeah.
It's not about the game anymore. I'm pissed that it's mediocre. You know? So, yeah. So, yeah, it does matter. Long story short, it matters to an extent, but I don't hang my hat on what the number is. I just kind of look at it. I go, that's a barometer. Okay. Everyone's sort of on the same page. Good enough for me.
For sure. Sam, what about your thoughts?
I'm pretty in line with what Eric said and what Jared said as well. Like, the thing is, I just want people to be consistent. That's the thing. I just want people to be consistent. You can't go off mocking one game for getting a 69 or a 70 if another game gets a 69 or a 70 on Metacritic. You can't. It doesn't work that way. Absolutely, if you want to experience something yourself, play it yourself. I'm playing Days Gone myself. Overall, I'm enjoying it. But the reality is, yeah, I read through a few of those reviews because I'm not the one reviewing it, so I don't mind reading reviews, and a lot of them ring true. A lot of them, that's like, yeah, performance issues. Yeah, weird cinematic choices. Some weird story choices. Some weird voice acting off the critical path. Lip sync issues. Audio problems. Like, this stuff is there. It might not happen to you. It's okay. But that is just the reality of it. And you shouldn't be paying attention to review scores as much as what the reviews are actually saying. Right. Don't care so much about the score for the latest exclusive on your favorite platform or whatever. Care about what people are saying about it, because I'll tell you what, whether you want it to be the case or not, what people are saying about the game is going to last longer and be more relevant.
Right. And stop cherry picking the negative parts out of the review. Because there are positive things that people usually put in their review, but no one talks about that part.
No, exactly.
They cherry pick the negative.
Here's the annoying thing. And Sam will attest to this as well, is the most annoying thing as a reviewer is watching one group of people pick all the positive parts out of your review, and then another group of people cherry pick all the negatives out of your review.
Yep.
And that happened vehemently with my Crackdown 3 review. One group of fanboys took my criticisms of it and ran with it, and another group of fanboys took my compliments of it and ran with it and blew it out of proportion. And then I had people going, oh, well, you really loved it, didn't you? I'm like, no. It was okay. If you read the review, it was okay. Oh, but you really hated it. No, there was issues, but... And that's the thing, is people want extremes. And, like, if you're going to sit there and try to convince me that, like, oh, well, Days Gone got a better rating because it's a Sony game. No. It got the rating it deserved. Right now, I feel this game is average. And when I say average, I mean a 6 to a 7.
If I was asked to give a review right now based off of the 8-9 hours I've played, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Yes. 100%. I'm pretty darn in line with the Metacritic.
And can I say, the fastest way for me to roll my eyes and feel that you're completely irrelevant in what you're saying is for you to be super pissed and telling somebody that they're wrong before you've put your hands on the game yourself.
Yes, exactly.
When a reviewer drops a review and they've spent time with the game, and granted, again, I'm not saying that they all get it right. Some of them, you're like, what? And some of them have an agenda. I'm not saying that. But for the most part, when someone's put the review out and you're like, there's no way this game is that bad. Did you play it? I'm picking it up tomorrow night. How do you're irrelevant at this point. You have nothing to add to this.
Exactly.
But I watched YouTube videos. I watched streams.
and then I think, I shared this with you guys, but I was kind of like, I see it time and time again. The mob shows up, they're ready to call everyone, outside their name, over a review.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get the game and they go 1 hour in. I just started playing. I'm 2 hours in. I don't know what these reviewers are talking about. They're crazy. Give them a little bit more time.
Yep.
Okay, I'm seeing a little bit about what they may have been saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Give it more time. No one says anything.
Yep. It's the same. With a handful of very specific exceptions, it's the same story every time.
Exactly.
Well, to quote Ryan McCaffrey, it's like clockwork, right? Zealot fanboys disagree with our less than glowing review of a big game that they haven't played yet, call us every name in the book, and then a week later they all play the game, realize their criticism was on point, and suddenly get very, very quiet.
Right.
Yep.
And then also people have this thing, and again, mainstream media, they've done some things right, they do some things wrong. But I've said it time and time again, my hats are off to anyone who wants to go into that realm because people are crazy, and they have ownership over things that they feel they should have ownership over. And I can't imagine day in, day out getting barraged. I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of positives, but when it's negative, I can't imagine if you worked at McDonald's and someone in like 2,000 people a day showed up to tell you how awful your fry cooking is. How would that affect you, right?
Well, and not only that, but as human beings, it's a part of the way we are. Unfortunately, psychologically, we remember negative reinforcement more than positive reinforcement. That's why it is so important. It is vital for you to give positive reinforcement.
Right. And now, where I will respect you is if you do get the game, say, hey, I see the review. I don't know. Even if someone says, you know what, I see these reviews and I don't think I'm going to pick it up yet. Because people forget that too. It's okay to do that. That's what the reviewers are there for. Right. People have this whole thing against like media, mainstream media. They want to prove it wrong all the time. That it's like they forget. Ultimately, they're still kind of doing their job. They are doing what they're supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Informing someone of what they should do. So now it's also fine for you to say, you know what? I see the reviews. It's not really affecting me. I'm still going to play it for myself and make my own determination. And then from there, if you say, hey, I don't agree with what they said. I actually like this. This is pretty cool. Now what you're doing is you're giving back to the community because you're informing someone who may have been on the fence, who may follow your tweets or may follow what you have to say. And they go, you know what? I'm usually in the same accord with you. I'm going to go ahead and get it too. Or you could say, yeah, they were on the money with this. Maybe you guys might want to hold off. But then maybe also give that reviewer the feedback.
Yes.
Say, hey, your review, you were on the money, man. You were on the money.
Exactly.
Or you could say, hey, and I'm sure they'll respect it too. If you say, hey, I think you were a little bit off, but I respect what you had to say about it.
I'm speaking for me as a reviewer, I will always respect someone disagreeing with my opinion or having a conversation with me. Absolutely. But you need to have a conversation with me. Prove to me you read what I said. And if I got something wrong, talk to me about it. Tell me, well, no, wait a minute. Did you consider this? Or, well, but bro, did you think about this? And I'll respect you for it, even if I don't agree.
Right.
And you know what? Even if it's a big enough point, maybe we'll go back and look at it.
Exactly.
And here's the thing. We can use Ryan McCaffrey because he's out there. Ryan's not afraid to give his opinion, even though, he catches a lot of crap, right? Mm-hmm. And again, Ryan's very much that example of some things are on point, some things can be a little off. It just depends, right? But Ryan's opinion on things, I'm usually in the same accord with him, because I understand what his intentions are. And like I said, we can say, he's human. So some days you have a good day, some days you don't have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the weight on you, right? But I remember Ryan gave the Master Chief Collection a 9. I think it was either 9 or 9.5.
Yeah.
When it came out. And that was with the internet the online part of it completely broken.
Yeah.
I don't remember people going insane over that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you fast forward a few years, and I think they were talking about it on a recent Unlocked, now that the game has been fixed and they're still adding to it. And he said, yeah, I got that one wrong.
Yeah, he owned up to it.
Yeah, he's like, I think, I let the fact that, that he loves Halo, he loves the franchise, for what people have to say about him not being like an Xbox guy or whatever. He was like, but, he still stands by the campaign portion of it. He said, but for me to give it a 9.5 with the online in the place where it was, I got that one wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he owned, like you said, he owned up to it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's where people like that don't get the credit.
No.
So you have to take the good with the bad. You can't always cherry pick the negative because you want to have a narrative to run with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like you can't discredit someone's work and then give them credit when you feel it's convenient.
Right, exactly, Nick. Very good point.
Because like I have it all the time. There's specific guys that will retweet my articles when it serves their specific point. And then there's other times where they won't. Like, and the thing is people like to say, they're like, oh, well, if you don't like negative feedback, write positive articles. I wrote a piece last week. I spent like 3 days writing it about how Sea of Thieves has completely transformed and how much work Rare has put into it. And so I put that piece up on M4G, and within 5 minutes, I had a comment going, too little, too late, get fucked.
Wow.
And I'm like, yep, that's the feedback. And that was the top upvoted comment in the comment section. And I'm just like, well, okay. And people are like, well, if media wrote positive stories, we'd give them slack. It's like, yeah, if we cover positive stuff, you're like, oh, I don't like that game, so I hope you get hit by a train.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, okay, like I remember the discourse when I wrote God of War could be the game of the generation for PlayStation. And people were like, no, it can. Death Stranding still exists. Days Gone still exists. I'm like, okay. I'm kind of saying here.
Like, two still up there.
Yeah, like, well, it's the same people that I remember a few months ago as we wrap up. There was a few people when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and they're like, I can't wait till Sony Bend releases Days Gone so they could show Rockstar how to make a real open world game. I'm like,
Man, people love writing checks.
Oh, man.
They love writing fat, juicy checks. But then are very quiet later.
Yeah, it's like where did these people go? Like it was the same people, and like I always give Jared a good ribbing about this, but like all those people that talk so much crap to me about Anthem, where are you? Where are you hiding?
I want to ask.
We're hiding in the back, okay?
Why? How come they can't set out to make a completely different game? That's okay. I'm like,
I don't know.
I didn't say it wasn't okay. I just said I'm seeing some things that look a little odd to me.
It's never a good sign when a developer refers to the first 10 weeks of launch as early access.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you, people take ownership of stuff, man, where they just get annoyed over any like criticism of it. And you actually hit it on the head, man, by saying, you can't just retweet the things that run your narrative. But then you do the same thing opposite when there's something that you don't like. And we see it with YouTubers. I see people all the time share like the positive, what they think, aligns with what they want. And then when the person says something in the opposite, you don't see anything,
Yep.
And that actually had me laughing the other day because, shout out to Warrior Ward. He actually shared one of Rand's videos. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and share this for those of you who only share certain things that Rand has to say. I'm like,
yep. Man, that's how it is, man.
Yep, it's just how things go. People want purchase gratification, and that's our job as media, is to pat you on the back and tell you, you made a good decision.
Oh, wait, no, it's not. Our job is to tell the truth.
That's the
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah, I'm sorry. If people don't realize I'm insanely pessimistic and sarcastic, and if you can't pick up on my sarcasm, I'm sorry you're that stupid.
And you know what? I
Jeez.
get into like conversations with people and I see it going a certain way. I just say to myself, I can't give you what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and I either don't reply anymore, or like you said, Jared, I'm out. Like I stop replying. Like, I can't give you what you're fishing for.
Yeah, no,
There's no amount I can do therapy for you.
9 times out of 10, like I'll get into a conversation with someone about a point about one of my pieces, and I'll hit a point with them where I'm like, you just need a hug from your mother or something because there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, you're done good, kid. Whatever you decided to buy, it's fine. All of it is good. Whatever you chose, there's no wrong decision.
There's no wrong decision unless you still own a Ouya in 2019.
Right. It's like, hey, you didn't do a bad thing.
Yeah.
I can't help you. We've gone as far as we can go here. I can't help you any further. You know?
Yep. It is what it is. Enjoy what you enjoy. Reviews are a great thing of whether you should buy it now, buy it on sale down the line, or anything like that. Or if you truly do think the game's going to be amazing, just buy it yourself and ignore reviews. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't read my review because you don't want my perspective on it or wherever the case may be. It's no skin off my back. But don't come and tell me that my opinion on the game is wrong because you don't agree with my opinion, because my opinion's just as valid as yours.
And
Especially when you haven't played the game yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And take reviews for the difference that they are now. Like there was a time where the review was mostly, to inform you because maybe cash was short. When releases were a lot more, spaced out. You had that hard-earned money that it's like, I can only plunk down on 1 or 2 games a year, and I need that. Now it's the battle for your time because we have so much stuff to play. So it's like, do I really want to invest in this game that could be or, but if you're looking forward to it, there shouldn't be anything anyone has to say one way or the other that should stop you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if it does, were you truly looking forward to it, or were you just looking to have something to wave the flag about?
Yep.
Yeah, I still bought Anthem. Just saying.
Yeah. No, you did. Let no one say that you didn't buy Anthem.
There was nothing wrong, and then absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's like you were hyped, and that was enthusiastic. It's just it happens. Some games you go into, you're like, hey, this is what I thought I was gonna get. Maybe I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But there are people who like, hey, I feel like I got it.
Just enjoy what you enjoy, though, honestly. Just do it, because in the end of the day, we only have so much time on this damn earth. Use the reviews as a guide for your opinion. Don't not let it sway your opinion, because in the end, your opinion is what matters the most. So just go enjoy your games, have fun at the end of the day, and enjoy your time.
Right. Yep. Jared's got it perfectly, and it's things like that. It's like when people try to fight me over things about my opinion. I'm like, this is my opinion. You're not going to change it. BioShock Infinite was the best story-based game that came out in 2013. Fight me, Last of Us nerds.
And yeah, man, that's the funny thing, man. That's the funny thing. We have so many toys in the toy box that if something doesn't pan out, guess what? There's usually something lined up right behind it, behind it, in the backlog.
Yeah, it's just, like people are like, oh man, well, Days Gone's kind of disappointing. I'm like, don't worry, Rage 2 comes out in like 2 weeks. You'll be fine. Like,
oh man, you know what? I'm way more excited for Plague Innocent, the Tales one. Plague Tale of Innocence. Yeah, that one. So good.
There was an episode of South Park where like they were playing with that whole idea of like, oh man, that was so last week. It's like everything they got, and then it's like, hey, I got this guy. Oh, that was so last week.
My favorite episode of South Park was when Cartman waited outside a store for like ever to get a Wii. Like Nintendo Wii was the hype thing on South Park, and that killed me.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. Enjoy what you enjoy. That pretty much wraps up the show. So I want to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to listen to this. We'll do outros, and I've got some housekeeping stuff quickly. So Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's Tolbert. You can find everything I write on tickgamesnetwork.com. Once I figure out how not to die on some of these hordes and things like that, I may have some guides to help people out with some aspects in Days Gone.
For sure. I'll be working on some similar style stuff as well. So you guys keep your eyes peeled for that. Jared, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X or as well at TickGamesNetwork.com.
Right on. And Eric, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me mostly on Twitter at EC Jackson with an X. And when I'm not here with you guys, I'm also on Brat Podcast Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock.
Right on. I appreciate everyone that takes time out of their day to listen to this episode. There will be an official schedule posted for all the Gaming Perspective and all its spin-offs next week once I get a format ironed out for upload schedule. So you'll be expecting certain episodes on specific days. Haven't settled on a day in which to release our episodes yet. So we'll work that out. So don't forget, you guys, if you are interested, you can support the show via Patreon at www.patreon.com/gamingperspective. The link is fixed now. It was broken on the last episode, so you can go ahead and check that out. I'll be adding tiers to that later this week, which involves Eric playing Sea of Thieves and me playing Detroit. So be excited. Be excited. And there's going to be a $500 tier that will force Cal to play Alien Isolation.
I'm totally subbing for that. I'm subbing for that. It's like skate right now.
So you can support us that way. We appreciate all your support to the people that have subscribed so far. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Gaming Perspect. And you can also follow me personally on Twitter at Undead3XVI. Next episode of the PlayStation Perspective will be later this week. It'll be all about Days Gone. I'm hoping to have a pretty interesting guest for that show. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you guys next time on the next episode of the Gaming Perspective podcast. Have a wonderful night.